So I released a video on this channel called These Women Don't Think Their Past Should Matter. It was a street interviews video featuring women from the UK and from Austria. Now, the actual topic of the video was about backwards rationalization, the sort of mental tricks and processes that people go through, especially women, after they've slept with somebody in ascribing them positive characteristics, sort of talking themselves into a behavior that they've already done. I chose to do a video on that topic because it's always been fascinating to me how women will choose to sleep with a man based on primarily biological cues, but then after the deed is done, they'll sort of rationalize it by a huge number of other factors. I've always just found that process fascinating, so I wanted to do a video on it. But in order to sort of warm the girls up and lead up to that question, I started with a few tangentially related questions. It was just to kickstart the interview, and I can confidently say that in all of the videos that I've ever featured, the first question on that video generated a larger response than anything I think I've done. After listening to the responses from the girls in the first question, the comment section just exploded. I'm going to play a small clip from that video so you know what I'm talking about.
How many sexual partners is a woman likely to have by the time she is 30?
How many is she likely to have?
Maybe around 15.
15?
I think any amount is acceptable, but on average I'd say over 20. 5 to 10 maybe.
Upwards of 50, only because for women, I think they're very experimental in their teenage years.
Like about 30 maybe, 30, 40. It depends on how open a woman is. I mean, I think it's okay also if the woman has 0 sex partners, that's also fine if she doesn't want to. But I think like an average number would be like 40.
I reckon 30, at least. Yeah, I don't know. I reckon upwards of 50, like nothing to be ashamed of if they do. I reckon that's a normal number.
20.
¿Cómo? I don't know, maybe
The ideal one, 20.
20?
You are 22, and how many have you had?
No, I think maybe 10. Yeah, 10. But I think it's okay to have any number. If you have 100, if you have 200, it's also fine, you know.
So that was the footage that got a really strong reaction. If you want to see the full video, I'll put a link in the description box below, and I recommend you check it out if for no other reason than to read the comment section. Now, I will do a video in the future that explains the evolutionary psychology behind why men feel an aversion to a woman who's had a lot of partners, but that's not what this video is about. This video is going to be about the statistics, because what I want to do is address the questions that people asked. Are the numbers that these women are saying normal? Is this typical? Is this accurate? Does the data reflect this? We do need to look at actual research studies on this question, because it's not enough to just listen to some anecdotal evidence from a couple of women and then assume we know what the truth is. Now, at the time of making this video, I don't actually know what the truth is. How many partners should a woman have by the time she's 30? Or how many should a woman have in her lifetime? What's normal? What's typical? I have no idea. So we're going to find that out together. I'm going to go online, I'm going to look up, do some research, and you're going to follow along with me. And I promise, I'm not going to cherry pick the evidence. I have no particular vested interest in the answer being low or the answer being high. You're going to see everything that I'm seeing. I'm going into this blind, and you can come along with me. So keep watching if you want to find out the answer to the question, what is a typical number of partners for a woman? Okay, so this is the first thing that I found. It's a breakdown of the average number of sexual partners by country. And as you can see, the UK and Austria, which were the two countries featured in the video, have come out with an average number of 9.8 partners and 9.7 respectively. Turkey, for some reason, seems to be at the top of the list, which is surprising because it's a Muslim country. I would have thought they'd be more sexually conservative. Close to the top are Australia and New Zealand, where it seems like 13 partners is typical. To be honest, 13 partners seems quite high to me, especially since this is data that includes everybody, even those people who married young and have probably only had 1 or 2 partners. For those who are curious, the US and Canada have an average of 10.7. But this data isn't very useful. For one thing, it doesn't include age. It was compiled a long time ago, back in 2005. And that's before Tinder. It's really before social media, really. So a lot of things have changed in the dating market. There's also no breakdown based on gender. So I'm going to keep looking, see what else we can find. This is actually quite a frustrating process because what I'm getting are contradictory results. I've got one study conducted by the pharmaceutical company Superdrug, and that says that women have an average of 7 partners in a lifetime and men have an average of 8.8. However, a different study, this one conducted by Nectar Sleep, is giving me completely different results. These guys, they surveyed men and women, specifically age 30, and they found that the average number of partners for men was 26 and for women was 19, which is crazy high, but given the discrepancy of these numbers with the previous research, I'm pretty skeptical. So we've got some studies with some higher numbers, some studies with some lower numbers. I'm going to keep looking, try and find some more research to see if we can, get some kind of an average. Okay, this is a good one. I found one from a much more credible source. This one is from the Journal of Sex Research, and they conducted a survey over 2 years. It was just inside the UK, but it featured over 15,000 responses, and that is a lot of data. In the end, they found that the average number of partners for men was 14, and women were half that, just 7 partners. Now, it should be noted that in that study, the researchers gave particular attention to self-reporting bias. They actually say in their results that they don't think that the numbers that they received are necessarily accurate because of men's tendency to overinflate their numbers and women's tendency to deflate theirs. They're probably right, of course, but that's very frustrating for somebody like me who's looking for some real actual data. Yeah, as I keep looking, I keep finding more contradictory information. Like, I'm looking at this article and it's reporting on 2 different studies, but again, it's 2 contradictory results. One study says that the average number of partners is 9.3 for men and 4.7 for women, and then the other study found that it was 11.7 for men and 7.7 for women. A lot of this research has been focused around the UK, which is interesting. I wonder if that society is more interested than others in finding out just how promiscuous everybody is. But I did find one that was centered in the US, and it's about how many people have had sex, how many partners people have had in college. As you can see, the results of that research was that men have had on average 14 partners in a lifetime, 5 by the time they finish college, whereas women have had 11 or so partners in their lifetime, but also 5 in college. I think that's going to end it because as I keep doing more research, I just find links to the same studies again and again. Particularly the study done by Superdrug obviously got a lot of media attention. That one's getting referenced a lot. So even though it's frustrating that we didn't end up getting clear data, there were lots of contradictory results, that's the best that we have, so that's what we're going to work with. Now, admittedly, this research is not going to be perfect because it does rely on self-reporting, and when you've got a topic like sex, which is extremely taboo, you can't always trust that people are going to give accurate answers. But still, this is the best that we can do, and what I want to do is leave you guys with a number, just give you absolutely something. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add up the average number of all of the different studies, together, and then divide them by the number of studies. And that should give us something of an accurate result. All right, that's done it. What I've done is the maths, and I've got a final figure for you. And here it is. The average number of sex partners for women in a lifetime is 9.5. The average number of partners for a man is 14. That's the answer. At least that's as accurate an answer as we're going to get based on the data we have available. Those figures might seem very high to you, or they might seem very low. I'll leave that to you to form your own judgments, but as far as I can tell, those are what the figures are.